あなたのその眉間には、今、深い苦悩のシワが刻まれてはいないでしょうか。腹の底では、煮えたぎるようなマグマのような怒りが、渦を巻いているのではありませんか。あれほど目をかけてやったのに、あんなに尽くしてやったというのに、恩を仇で返すとはどういう了見だと。その悔しさ、その情けなさ、そして、信じていたものに裏切られたという絶望感、痛いほどによくわかります。ですが、私、中村天風は、あえてここで、あなたに厳しいことを申し上げなければなりません。どうか、その恩知らずな哀れな人間のために、あなたご自身の、二度と戻らない尊い命の時間を、これ以上一秒たりとも浪費してはなりません。改めまして、中村天風でございます。本日は、人間関係において最も深く心を傷つけ、魂を蝕む猛毒、恩を仇で返された時の心の処し方について、宇宙の真理と生命の法則に基づいた、少し長くなりますが、極めて重要なお話をさせていただきたく存じます。どうか、リラックスして、心を開いてお聞きください。私たちが長い人生の旅路を歩んでおりますと、残念ながら、どうしても避けては通れない嵐のような人間に出会うことがございます。それは、あなたが善意で差し出した手を、冷たく振り払う人間です。あなたが汗水垂らして築き上げたものを、平然と横取りする人間です。あるいは、あなたが窮地を救ってやったにもかかわらず、喉元すぎれば、暑さを忘れ、あたかも自分一人の力で生きてきたかのような顔をして、あろうことか、あなたに砂をかけて去っていくような人間です。そのような非道な仕打ちを受けたとき、まともな神経を持った人間であれば、夜も眠れぬほどの怒りに震えるのは当然のことでありましょう。許せない、絶対に思い知らせてやりたいと、復讐の炎を燃やすのも無理からぬことです。あなたのような、責任感が強く、情に熱い方であればなおさらのこと、その傷は深く、心臓をえぐられるような思いをされていることと推察いたします。しかし、皆様、ここで一度、冷静になって、呼吸を深く整え、私の言葉を魂で聞いていただきたいのです。結論から申し上げます。恩を仇で返すような輩に出会ったとき、あなたがなすべきことは、たった一つしかございません。それは、怒ることでも、悲しむことでも、ましてや復讐を企てることでもありません。ただ、捨てるのです。即座に、きっぱりと、その出来事と相手の存在を、あなたの意識の中から完全に捨て去るのです。忘却の彼方へと葬り去るのです。なぜ、私がこれほど強く捨てよと申し上げるのか。それには、私たちの命に関わる、極めて重大な、そして科学的とも言える理由があるからなのです。皆様は、人間の心と体というものが、どれほど密接に、驚くべき精密さでつながっているかをご存知でしょうか。あなたが心の中であいつが憎い、許せないと歯ぎしりをしているその瞬間、あなたの肉体の中で何が起きているか、想像したことはございますか。怒り、恨み、嫉妬、憎悪、これら消極的な感情を心に抱いた瞬間、人間の脳からは、恐ろしいほどの毒素を含むホルモンが分泌されております。それは、即座に自律神経を乱し、血管を収縮させます。さらさらと流れていたはずの血液は、一瞬にしてドロドロと濁り、酸素や栄養を運ぶ力を失います。胃腸の働きはピタリと止まり、消化液の分泌は異常をきたし、全身の細胞という細胞が酸欠と栄養失調で悲鳴を上げるのです。つまり、どういうことかお分かりでしょうか。あなたが相手を呪っているその時間は、相手を傷つけているのではありません。あなたご自身が、ご自分の手で猛毒を煽り、ご自分の尊い肉体を内側から破壊している時間そのものなのであります。これを自家中毒と申します。自分で毒を作り、自分で飲んでいるのです。よく考えてみてください。あなたが夜、怒りで眠れずに天井を睨みつけているとき、その憎き相手は今頃どこで何をしているでしょうか。おそらく、あなたのことなどすっかり忘れ、のうのうとおいしいものを食べ、酒を飲み、高笑いをし、あるいは高いびをかいて眠っていることでしょう。これほど馬鹿げた、理不尽な話があるでしょうか。 相手は痛くも痒くもないのに、被害者であるあなただけが、血圧を上げ、胃に穴を開け、寿命を縮め、身を削っているのです。これは、泥棒に入られた家主が、悔しさのあまり自らの家に火を放って全焼させるようなものではありませんか。ですから、私は声を大にして申し上げたい。あなたを裏切ったような、つまらない人間のために、あなたの神聖な命の炎を、これ以上無駄に燃やしてはなりません。それは、天から与えられたあなたの命に対する、最大の冒涜であります。そんな相手に、あなたの人生の貴重な時間を1秒たりとも明け渡してはならないのです。あなたの命は、もっと美しく、もっと価値のあることのために使われるべきものなのですから。では、一体なぜ、世の中には恩を仇で返すような人間が存在するのでしょうか。その正体を、少し高い視点から、冷静な観察者の目で解剖してみましょう。彼らは、物質的にどれほど裕福であろうとも、あるいは社会的にどのような地位にあろうとも、魂のレベルにおいては極貧の状態にあるのです。心が、底の抜けた桶のように壊れているのです。ですから、あなたがどれほど親切という水を注いでも、愛情という潤いを与えても、一向に満たされることがありません。右から左へと漏れ落ちていくばかりです。彼らは常に飢えています。愛されたい。認められたい。もっと得をしたい。そうやってガキのように口を開けて、常に誰かから奪うことばかりを考えています。彼らの心の辞書には、感謝という文字がございません。あるのは権利という文字だけです。してもらって当たり前。もっとよこせ。彼らは、他人を自分を満足させるための道具としか見ていないのです。そのような心の不愚者に対して、あなたが誠意を尽くしたところで、それが通じるはずもございません。それは、日本語の通じない相手に、一生懸命日本語で説得を試みるようなもので、最初から土台が無理な話なのです。あなたは、壊れたラジオから美しい音楽が流れてくることを期待しますか？しませんね。彼らは、感謝という音楽を奏でる機能が壊れているのです。ですから、恩知らずな人間に遭遇したときは、怒るのではなく、こう思ってください。ああ、なんと気の毒な人だろうかと。感謝という、人間にとって最も崇高で、最も幸福な感情を味わうことのできない、哀れな魂の持ち主なのかと。そうやって、高いところから哀れんでやればよいのです。同じ土俵に立って、同じレベルで喧嘩をしてはなりません。それは、泥沼の中で泥仕合をするようなもので、あなたご自身の品格を汚すことになります。ここで、さらに一歩踏み込んで、皆様ご自身の心の中も、少しだけ点検させていただきましょう。耳の痛い話になるかもしれませんが、これも皆様の人生を劇的に好転させるための愛の鞭だと思ってお聞きください。もし、あなたが裏切りに対していつまでも腹が立つ、損をしたと感じているならば、それは心のどこかにほんの少し見返りを求める心が潜んでいたからではないでしょうか。これだけしてやったのだから感謝されて叱るべきだ。いつか恩返しがあるはずだ。そう心の片隅で期待してはいませんでしたか。見返りを期待した瞬間に、その行為は純粋な親切から取引へと変質してしまいます。商売になってしまうのです。商売だからこそ、代金が支払われないことに腹が立ち、不渡り手形をつかまされたことに怒りを覚えるのです。しかし、皆様、本当の愛、本当の慈悲というものは、そのような計算高いものではありません。どうか、空に輝く太陽をご覧ください。太陽は、太古の昔から、私たち人間に、そして地上のあらゆる生命に、惜しみなく光と熱を与え続けてくれています。善人にも、悪人にも、美しい花にも、路傍の雑草にも、等しく光を注いでいます。ですが、太陽は一度たりとも、昨日照らしてやったから、今日は感謝料をよこせ、などと請求書を送ってきたことがありましょうか。誰も感謝してくれないから、今日は照らすのをやめようと、太陽が拗ねたことがありますか。いいえ、断じてありません。太陽はただ無心に、自らの命を燃やして輝き続けています。なぜなら、 照らすことが太陽の本質であり、輝くこと自体が太陽の喜びだからです。また、野に咲く花を見てください。誰が見ていようがいまいが、美しい花を咲かせ、良い香りを漂わせています。誰も見てくれないから咲くのをやめようなどと拗ねる花はありません。ただ、咲きたいから咲く、与えたいから与える。これが天の心であり、大自然の法則なのです。あなたが誰かに親切にしたとき、それは、あなた自身の心が豊かであり、愛に満ちていたからこそ、自然とあふれ出た行為だったはずです。その良きことを成したという事実そのものが、すでに天からの報酬なのです。親切にできる自分、困っている人を助けられる余裕のある自分であることの喜び、それだけで、収支はすでに合っているのです。それなのに、後になってからお釣りが足りない、感謝が足りないと騒ぎ立てるのは、いささか浅ましい根性だとは思いませんか。私たちは、この与え切りの精神を持たねばなりません。私は、私の良心に従って、なすべきことをなした。天はそれを見ている。あとは野となれ山となれ。そうやって、したことをその場で忘れてしまうくらいの、さっぱりとした気性を持つことが、人生を軽やかに、そして力強く生きる秘訣なのです。そうは申しましても、人間ですもの、感情の動物です。頭では分かっていても、ふとした瞬間に過去の嫌な記憶がよみがえり、腹渡が煮えくり返ることもあるでしょう。そんな時、具体的にどう心を立て直せばよいのか、その実践的な技術をお伝えいたしましょう。まず、第一に、言葉の力を使うことです。嫌な記憶が頭をもたげたら、即座にいけないと気づき、声に出して、あるいは心の中で強く叫ぶのです。私は、何があっても動じない。私の心は、太陽のように明るく輝いている。と、言葉には、魂が宿ります。これを言霊と言います。あなたが発した言葉は、あなたの耳から入り、脳に刻まれ、潜在意識へと沈んでいきます。ネガティブな言葉を使えば、潜在意識はネガティブに染まります。しかし、力強い、肯定的な言葉を使えば、潜在意識はそれを現実化しようと働き始めます。ですから、怒りが湧いた時こそ、あえて強気な、明るい言葉を自分に投げかけるのです。第二に、夜の儀式を大切にしてください。皆様、夜寝る前に何を考えていますか。あいつのせいで今日は最悪だった。明日また会うのが憂鬱だ。そんなことを考えながら布団に入ってはいけません。寝入り花の心は、そのまま潜在意識の奥底へと定着します。怒りを抱いて眠るということは、一晩中、怒りの毒を培養しているのと同じことです。どんなに腹の立つことがあった日でも、寝床に入ったら、すべてをリセットするのです。ああ、今日も命があってよかった。ありがたい。明日はきっと素晴らしい日になる。そう無理やりにでも思い込み、感謝の言葉をつぶやきながら眠りにつくのです。これが、心身を健康に保つための絶対のルールです。第三に、鏡の魔法です。怒りが収まらないときは、鏡を見てごらんなさい。そこには、眉間にシワを寄せ、口を絵の字に曲げた、鬼のような形相の自分が映っているはずです。そんな顔をしていては、幸運の神様も逃げ出してしまいますし、何よりあなた自身の運気が下がります。鏡の中の自分に向かって、無理やりにでもニカッと笑ってみせるのです。作り笑いで構いません。口角を上げ、目尻を下げる。そして、お前は素晴らしい。お前は強い。と声をかけるのです。不思議なもので、顔の筋肉を笑顔の形にするだけで、脳は、今は楽しいのだなと勘違いし、幸せホルモンを出し始めます。形から入ることで、心を変えることができるのです。そして最後に、クンバハカの姿勢をとることです。これは私が長年説いてきた、心身統一の秘訣です。まず、肛門をキュッと締める。下腹に力を込める。そして、肩の力を抜く。この3つを同時に行うのです。人間、怒っている時や恐れている時は、必ず肩が上がり、呼吸が浅くなり、腹の力が抜けています。逆に言えば、肛門を締め、腹に力を込め、肩を下げていれば、心は決して取り乱すことがありません。 嫌な奴の顔が浮かんだら、すぐさま肛門を閉める。下腹に力を入れる。そして深く息を吐く。そうすれば、あなたの心に不動の岩のような安定感が戻ってきます。あんな小物にいちいち反応していた自分が馬鹿らしかったなと、笑い飛ばせる余裕が生まれてくるのです。皆様、人生における最大の復讐とは何か、ご存知でしょうか。相手を罵ることではありません。相手の不幸を願うことでもありません。最大の復讐、それは、あなたご自身が、相手が羨むほどに、誰よりも幸福に、健康に、そして朗らかに生きることなのです。あなたが、裏切りなどものともせず、毎日を生き生きと、楽しそうに過ごしている姿を見せつけること、これこそが、恩知らずな人間にとって、最も強烈な打撃となるのです。彼らは、あなたを引きずり下ろしたくて、あなたの心を乱したくて、あのような卑劣な真似をしたのです。それなのに、あなたが痛くも痒くもない顔をして、以前にも増して輝いていたらどうでしょう。彼らの悪意は行き場を失い、彼ら自身の心の中で腐敗し、彼ら自身を蝕んでいくことになります。これこそが天の裁き、因果応報のりです。あなたが手を下す必要などみじんもございません。宇宙の法則は厳格であり、狂いがありません。蒔いた種は、必ず本人が刈り取らねばならないのです。悪意を蒔いた者は、必ず悪意という苦い果実を食べることになります。彼らが今、のうのうとしているように見えても、それは時間の問題です。必ず、その報いを受ける時が来ます。ですから、あなたは放っておけばよいのです。相手にする価値もないと、無視を決め込めばよいのです。あなたは、ただご自分の心の庭の手入れだけをしていればよろしい。心という庭に、恨みや憎しみという毒草を植えてはなりません。そんなものを育てているいとまがあったら、感謝、希望、勇気、喜びという美しい花をたくさん植えてください。心に何を描くか、それがあなたの人生というキャンバスに描かれる絵そのものになります。同類の法則というものがございます。心の中でいつも不平不満や人の悪口を言っている人間は、不思議と同じような波長の人間を引き寄せます。逆に、どんなに裏切られても、世の中にはいろいろな人がいる。私は私の道を正しく歩むだけだと、カラカラと笑い飛ばせるような器の大きな人間の周りには、必ず、同じように清々しく、素晴らしい人格の人々が集まってくるのです。あなたが今、恩知らずな人間に悩まされているということは、これを人間関係の断捨離の好機と捉えてはいかがでしょうか。その人は、あなたの人生という列車から、途中下車していったのです。降りてくれてありがとう。おかげで空気がきれいになった。席が空いたと感謝したいくらいではありませんか。空いた席には、必ず、あなたの今の心のレベルにふさわしい、もっと素晴らしい人物が座ることになります。これは絶対の法則です。去る者は追わず、来る者は拒まず、過去の汚れた執着を手放せば、その空いたスペースに、新しい幸運が雪崩のように流れ込んでまいります。損して得取れという言葉がありますが、あなたは、つまらない人間との縁を切ることで、もっと大きな心の自由と真の幸福を手に入れることができるのです。今回の出来事は、あなたが次のステージへと進むための、天からの卒業試験だったのかもしれません。ですから、皆様、今日、この瞬間から、思考を完全に切り替えてください。過去を振り返るのは、もう終わりにしましょう。バックミラーばかり見て運転していたら、事故を起こしてしまいます。前を見るのです。変えられない他人の心に執着するのは、時間の無駄です。あなたがコントロールできるのは、あなた自身の今、ここにある心だけなのです。人生は、思っている以上に短いものです。特に、人生の後半戦に差し掛かれば、残された時間は黄金のように貴重です。1分1秒がダイヤの輝きを持っています。その貴重な時間を、自分を傷つけた人間のために、使い続けるのか、それとも、愛すべき家族や、心躍る仕事、そして何より、あなたご自身を幸せにするために使うのか、答えは明白でありましょう。あなたのその優しさは、決して弱さではありません。 それは素晴らしい美徳です。今回のことで、もう人には親切にするまい、誰も信用するまいと、心を閉ざしてしまってはなりません。それでは、あなたの負けになってしまいます。これからも、堂々と親切にしなさい。愛を与え続けなさい。ただし、見返りを求めずに、そして、あなたのその尊い優しさを受け取るに値する、清らかな魂を持った人間を見極め、大切にしなさい。世の中には、あなたの想像をはるかに超える素晴らしい出会いが待っています。あなたが顔を上げ、笑顔で歩き出せば、必ずそういう人たちと巡り会えます。泥沼ばかりを見ていては、青空は見えません。顔を上げろ、胸を張れ。あなたは、これまでの人生で、数々の苦難を乗り越えてこられた、強靭な魂の持ち主です。こんなちっぽけな石ころにつまずいて、立ち止まっているような弱い存在ではありません。あなたの中には、宇宙とつながる無限の力が眠っているのです。その力を、怒りや憎しみといったマイナスの感情で消耗させるのではなく、喜びや創造、そして愛というプラスのエネルギーとして爆発させるのです。あなたが積極的に生きることを決意した瞬間、宇宙霊、すなわち大いなる生命の力が、あなたを全力で応援し始めます。健康も、運命も、人間関係も、すべてが好転し始めます。これは、私が命を懸けて証明してきた真実です。最後に、もう一度申し上げます。恩を仇で返すやっこになど、構うな。彼らは彼らの業の中で生き、彼らの業の中で苦しむことになるでしょう。あなたは関係ありません。あなたは、あなただけの輝かしい道を、太陽のように堂々と、光り輝いて歩んでいけばよいのです。さあ、いかがでしょうか。少しは胸のつかえが取れましたでしょうか。腹の底から新たな力が湧いてくるのを感じていただけましたでしょうか。もしそうなら、今ここで、その忌まわしい過去の記憶を、ゴミ箱に丸めてポイと捨ててください。あなたの人生の主人公は、あなた自身です。誰にも邪魔はさせません。私、中村天風が保証いたします。あなたが心さえ積極的に、強く、正しく保っていれば、運命は必ず、劇的に好転いたします。間違いございません。さあ、参りましょう。振り返らず、前だけを見て、あなたの未来は、光に満ち溢れています。堂々と、勇ましく、お進みください。
When you find an environment as magnificent as this, that inspires new desire within you all day, every day, and you simultaneously, as the new desire is exploding from you, are aware of where you stand in vibrational relationship to it. So you are, bit by bit, bringing yourself into alignment with each new idea as it comes. You begin to develop this steady, progressive path of delicious unfolding. We call it life in the vortex. But for those who don't know about the vortex or who want to call it something else, for those who aren't aware that they are vibrational beings, who don't know that the source within them is calling them eternally, as they see you living life from inside the vortex, they describe you in this way. They say, how is it that you barely seem to identify something as something that you would like to participate in, and it moves to you and you move to it? How is that so? As they observe you, they say, how is it that you are so clear-minded that a question occurs, but almost as soon as the question has been formulated within you, the answer begins to come? How is it that the answers are so fast on the heels of your questions? What is up with you, they want to know. How is it, they say, that you can barely tip your toes into something that would be remotely recognized by many others as a problem, but before you even get your feet wet, the solution begins to show itself to you? How is it you are joyful mostly? How is it that you are fun everywhere you go? How is it that your timing is so precise? How is it that you maintain your physical vitality? How is it that you seem to move through time without decline? How is it that you remain physically focused and yet there is something about you that seems otherworldly? And to most of them who are not ready to hear what you say about the vortex, you say to them something that is softer and simpler. You say, well, I have a philosophy of life that is serving me well. I believe in the well-being that surrounds us. I believe it is dominant. And because I believe it is dominant, I look for it. I focus upon it everywhere I look. And because I look for it, I find it. And when I find it, I focus upon it. And as I focus upon it, I practice the vibration of it until it's the only thing that can find me. I live in a world of well-being predominantly because well-being is what I look for. In fact, I have a mantra, you might say to them, today, no matter where I'm going, no matter what I'm doing, no matter who I'm doing it with, it is my dominant intent to look for what I'm wanting to see. Because when I look for what I'm wanting to see and find it, I practice the vibration of that. And then my world is filled with things that essentially, things that in essence are the same as that. Oh, don't get me wrong, you can say to them. I live in the world, the real world, like you, and from time to time I see those things that I'd rather not see. But I discovered some time ago, you may tell them, that whenever I know clearly what I don't want, I know equally clearly what I do want. And I've just learned to get off of what I don't want and onto what I do want as quickly as possible. When I was really little, I could feel that when someone praised me, it felt really, really good. And in the same way, when someone criticized me, it didn't feel good at all. And I recognized even when I was little that when I praised someone else, it would most likely feel good to them. And that if I were to criticize them, it would most likely not feel good to them. But what I was startled to discover is that every time I criticize anyone else, I don't feel good either. And so I've decided that there is a power in the way I feel. I believe, you may tell them if you want, that we were born into these physical bodies for the purpose of exaggerated and blissful expansion. And as I participate with those who surround me, I know that it's true of me and all of them that we are doing exactly that. But then somewhere along my trail, I figured something else out. Not only do I want to feel good, and not only does it feel really good to feel good, but I discovered that I have unconditional control of the way I feel. That was a big step for me. Because when I discovered that through the power of my focus, I could always find something that would feel good, and that if I deliberately do focus, that I can train myself into a frequency where only good feeling things can find me, my life started getting better right away. But then I discovered that there's an even deeper law behind it. I finally figured it out. I figured it out through my own trial and error, through my own exposure of my own life to the details that surrounded me. I figured it out that when I am in a moment of appreciation, it feels like the fullness of all that I am is right there appreciating with me. As if everything in the heavens is opened up to me, and my ability to see the positive aspect of whatever I am defining becomes fuller and greater. And I also discovered that if I do find something to criticize, it's like I empty out of me. It's like I go somewhere where the larger part of me does not go. So once I got wind of that, once I started figuring out that I am in harmony with that which is source, in my joy and in my love and in my praise, and I'm out of harmony in my criticism, in my anger, in my fear, I began to recognize that I was born with this guidance system, that this system within me to let me know not just how to get the most beautiful things in the world. I don't think that is really my purpose, although I don't mind getting it. I discovered that I was born with a guidance system to help me keep up with me. And I discovered that in any moment in time that I'm not keeping up with me, I can't bear it. For a long time, I thought that my negative emotion was because of something that somebody else was doing. And I cannot tell you how liberated, these are your words to them, I cannot tell you how liberated I was when I discovered that I hold the keys to my own freedom. That freedom, all that freedom is the freedom from resistance. And that resistance can only be self-applied. Other people can behave in ways that are unpleasing, but I have to look. Other people can behave in ways that don't feel good to them, but unless I give it quite a bit of my attention, I don't get hooked into it, and so it doesn't become part of my experience. Then they may say to you, well, this all sounds good, and I see that you are living a much happier than usual life. But what can I do? How can I get into a better feeling place when I have this that is bothering me and this that is a crisis and these things that have gone wrong? How can I focus upon positive things when there is so much around me that is not positive? And then you say, if you want to, well, I don't know about you, but I decided that it was just a choice that I would have to make. That I could focus upon the problems of the world and perpetuate those. Or I could focus upon the solutions of the world and perpetuate those. And beyond the perpetuation of the solution, I discovered that it feels way better to focus upon the solution than the problem. And so I do it for me. Selfishly, I have to tell you, I do it for me. And then they may say to you, oh, I've heard of selfish ones like you, who get yourself into a good feeling place and then will not look where it does not feel good. How is it that you can put your head in the sand and not notice what's going on in the world? And then you say, oh, I notice, because I was born to do that. I was born to sift through the details of life experience and to choose those things that feel the best to me. And so I want you to know, you can say to them, that I see plenty of things that I don't want to perpetuate, but I don't get hung up in the vibration of that anymore. I move quickly from what I don't want to a statement of what I do want, and then I do my very best to practice the vibration of what I want. A lot of my friends don't want to hang around with me anymore, because when they want to complain and I don't listen with any sort of sincerity, they are annoyed. Sometimes they even get their feelings hurt. And then I discovered something that kept them from getting their feelings hurt. I started practicing it one by one with friend after friend, with family members, with friends, even with people that I was just meeting standing in line someplace. I began to practice this. It goes like this. So they would say, how about that? I sure don't like that. And I would say, yes, but how about this? This is much better. At which point they would say, man, are you blind? Can't you see what's going on? And so I realized that trying to point out the positive aspects to someone who's standing in the middle of negative aspects wasn't going off very well. In fact, it just annoyed them and made them determined to not be with me. So I decided I had to go underground with it for a while. I decided that I couldn't be so overt about it. I couldn't be so in their face about it. So I just practiced in my own mind. When I would hear a complaint from someone, I would write down if I could, or remember if I could, what is it that I think they really want? Because it's pretty easy to know what someone wants when they're expressing what they don't want. And then I would practice seeing them having what they wanted rather than seeing them as not having it. I began practicing seeing them as they want to be. When someone indicated to me that they were sick, I immediately began to see them as well. And I began practicing the vibration of wellness. And then one by one, as my friends would present themselves to me, not one of them was put off by my newfound vibration, because this is the way it would play out. They would say, things aren't going well for me. And I would say, you know, I heard about that, but then I remembered who you are. And I began practicing in my own mind. When I'm not with you, it's much easier, I have to tell you. I began practicing in my own mind who you really are. And I've discovered things about you that are so intoxicating that now I think about them, not because I'm trying to help you improve, but because it just simply feels so good for me to acknowledge who you really are and what you've really got going on. And this is the list I've made about you. These are the positive aspects of your life. This is who I know you truly to be. This is how I see you. This is how I know you. And this is why I love you, you see. It is our promise to you that as you begin practicing the positive aspects of circumstances and events, of governments, of other governments, of political parties, of people that you know, of family members, of your mothers and your fathers and your children, of your friends, of people that you have formerly called your enemies, as you begin to tune yourself to what this time-space reality is helping you to put in your vortex about them. You see, these aren't just people running around annoying you or pleasing you. These are people running around causing you to build a vortex version of you. They are the reason that you are expanding. And so when they are the reason that you're expanding and you look back at their trouble, now you're extra mad at them because first they caused you to expand and now they're holding you back from your expansion. What we want you to realize is that no one can hold you back. There is no assertion in this attraction-based universe. It is all attraction. And so, as you begin to play with this a little bit, as you accept that you are vibrational beings first and foremost, as you acknowledge that you and everyone that you are interacting with is causing you to build this magnificent vortex of creation, and that the source within you dwells there and experiences the fullness of all that you have asked for. And as you, little by little, tune yourself to the frequency of that vibration, what you will begin to notice first is that you just feel better. The edge will just lift up off of you. Next, you'll begin to notice that wonderful ideas are flowing to you. You'll begin to notice that your memories of your past are changing, where the good memories are coming forward and the memories that were not so good fade, and you can hardly remember them at all. You'll begin to notice that people around you are on your vibrational wavelength. You'll begin to notice that you're thinking something and someone right next to you, even somebody that you don't know very well, will verbalize it, and you'll look at them and feel such camaraderie, such harmony, such co-creative connectivity. You'll say to them, "You may not believe this, but I was just thinking those exact thoughts." We are so on the same vibrational wavelength. And then, not only will the ideas flow, but connections of all kinds will begin to appear in your experience.
I want to get to that next level of grasping, staying more into the vortex. What would you recommend? I feel that I'm ready to push myself, or maybe I'm not using the right words, but to go into that next level.
Well, everything that we're talking about here today is about that. Let's just talk about how much you know, and then we will apply the next step in a really powerful way here. So, the first thing that you must acknowledge is that this is a vibrational universe and that you are vibrational. And that you are an extension of a very powerful, very pure, very non-resistant, very source energy vibration. That you are source, an extension of source. Next, you must understand, you must be willing to think about it often until it is a thought that you own. It is something that you don't just want to believe. It's not just something that you believe. It's something that you know for sure that well-being does abound, that source energy is powerful and good and focused to you and everyone else all the time. And that how you feel in any moment is about how much of that you're allowing yourself to receive in any moment in time. So when you see people hurting or angry or pinched off, just understand that for whatever reason they got a vibration going on that is preventing them from being in the receptive mode, but the offering mode is always, 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 always there. No one's being left out of this. So as you acknowledge that everyone has the opportunity to relax and find reception, then it makes it easier for you to find your uplifting part in first finding the reception mode for yourself, for your own benefit, and then for the benefit of the clarity of the example that it provides for anyone else. So over time, we've talked to you in lots of different ways to try to bring you up to speed with something that isn't utterly apparent to you, because you are translating vibrations so well you don't even realize that you're doing it. So we began making a series of statements and then backing them up with whole books to support them. And the first notion is that law of attraction is the most powerful law in the universe, and that it is activated all the time, and that it is responding to you in every waking moment. And then next we began saying that you can be a deliberate creator. You're usually not. You're usually creating by default because you're usually thinking thoughts all over the place. You're usually not paying attention to what you're thinking about. You're usually giving whatever's loudest or most evident in your experience, most active, most around you, most already manifested. That's what you're usually giving your attention to. But it doesn't have to be that way. Next, we began explaining to you that since you are an extension of source energy, that source energy part of you is calling you into alignment all the time. We began talking about going with the flow, of going in the direction of what is easier, not going against it, not going against the current, but going with the current. And then we began talking about how the life that you're living has caused you to create a vibrational reality that is vivid and real. It is the precursor to all good things that you are asking for, but that you've got to be in the receptive mode before you begin translating the vibration of that into what you call real life experience. And so today, if you're asking for something from us that on top of everything else that we've been giving you, and on top of so much that you are already understanding and applying, the thing that we want most for you to take away from this gathering is that well-being is, unless you're doing something to keep it from being in this moment. That to the degree that you are allowing yourself to feel ease, to the degree that you are allowing yourself to acknowledge well-being, that well-being will demonstrate itself all around you. So if we were talking to most humans who haven't been listening to us at all, who just took us from someone else's point of view and accepted that we are in a position to know things about the well-being that you speak and about the well-being that you seek, without being willing to take the time to understand the vibrational platform. These are the things that we would say in terms of doing. This is what we would do if we were standing in your physical shoes. We would stop introducing ourselves to the problems of the world. We would stop looking for trouble. We would stop looking for trouble in order to justify solutions that we are trying to discover to fix the problem. We would stop watching that continuous spewing of cable news. We would stop warning our children about things. We would stop being guarded ourselves. We would no longer be problem-oriented. We would be solution-oriented. We would look for reasons to feel good instead of reasons to feel bad. We would no longer justify why we are where we are to anyone. We wouldn't attempt to explain anything to anyone. We would accept that everyone has their own unique point of view, and relationship between them and what they have become. And we would accept that there just aren't enough words in the world to make them understand completely what our point of view is. And so we wouldn't spend any time trying to convince them. It would no longer matter to us what anybody else thinks about our plan of action, because they aren't really going to understand it anyway. We would no longer put our nose in other people's business and try to control the things that they're doing. We would accept, and this is what we're leading up to. This is the new piece that we're leading up to, that we really want you to feel and practice. We would accept that attention to the conditions as they stand is the primary reason that we are disallowing ourselves alignment with who we really are, and so full access to that infinite intelligence. So we would make a decision to be more unconditional in the way that we are approaching life. So here it is. With all of that said, we would Start right now. To identify by the way we feel. And you have so many conscious resources to help you know this. We would be looking for the path of least resistance in everything that we are doing. Because the path of least resistance is the path of most allowance of who we are. So what that means is we would no longer attempt the impossible, which is to carve out or apply or administer or dictate or control anyone else's path of least resistance. We would no longer make decisions based upon what's best for someone else. Every single time we would make decisions based upon one thing and one thing only. How does that affect my alignment? For example, let's say that your daughter is wanting to do something. What's something that she does that you don't want her to do?
There's a few.
Just pick the one that bothers you the most.
She's currently dating someone. I know it. Which she actually told me that
all right, we get it.
the characteristics that he has, she really didn't want it at the beginning, but she gave him a chance. That's one of the things.
All right, so from her own mouth, she has acknowledged that this is not the person that she really wants to be with.
Correct.
But she has decided that she's going to be with him anyway, at least for now.
Yeah, for now.
At least for now. So from your point of view, she is demonstrating to you not good judgment. So what you are attempting to do is to help her find the path of least resistance by explaining things to her that only life will teach her, by explaining things to her that you're not really even demonstrating 100% of the time, by trying to use words, by trying to use control, by trying to somehow wrestle to the ground her point of resistance, her path of least resistance. And what we want you to feel with this is how hard that is, you know, because you've been trying it. And it's ended up causing problems between you and your partner too. Now, let's just think about what the path of least resistance is for you. So the path of least resistance for you isn't about anybody else's behavior, it's about your alignment. So we're just going to ask some questions of you. Now we have this basis laid here. And you tell us what feels like the path of least resistance to you. So, barricading her in her room, does that feel like... We'll give you choices. Barricading her in her room or letting her come and go as she pleases. What feels like the path of least resistance?
Letting her go.
Telling her everything you know about relationships or allowing her time to have some experiences, which feels like the path of least resistance.
Allowing her to.
We're still a bit more in the action part of it than we mean to be, but it's sort of where you are. And you have to start wherever you are. You can't just jump to a new place. Get her mother to see your point of view or give it a rest.
Give it a rest. Yeah.
Take this young man aside and lay down the rules to him, or realize that, like your daughter, he's not having that much of you either.
The second one, yeah.
Worrying about your daughter or trusting your daughter, what's the path of least resistance?
Trusting her.
Anticipating things going terribly wrong or giving her credit for having some sensibility, what's the path of least resistance?
Giving her credit.
That smoothed out pretty well, isn't it? So now let's take it further. Let's see how much resistance actually did dissipate. She is the creator of her own reality. I am the creator of her own reality.
She is the creator of her own reality.
in order to get good at something, you practice it not at all, or you practice it every day?
Practice it every day.
She will come into her knowing with me watching every step she takes, or with me stepping back and trusting that she knows what she's doing.
Yeah, by stepping back.
I have an inner being. My daughter does not. My daughter has an inner being. My desire is to do what I can to help her feel her own guidance, or do what I can to be her guidance.
No, allow her to be her own guidance.
Do what I can to encourage her guidance. I encourage her guidance through trust or skepticism.
Trust.
I encourage her alignment through positive expectation or fear-based thought.
Positive expectation.
We're going to play with you. Her mother has good instinct about this. Her mother has bad instinct about this. This isn't about me being right or her mother being right. This is about both of us wanting her to stand in a place of her own guidance. More questions? Her mother or I expect to be with her in every decision she makes forevermore. She's on her own and has been for a while about the majority of the decisions she makes. It's natural that she make her own decisions. It's natural that she is her own point of attraction. It's natural that she follow her own instincts. It's natural that she has some contrast in her own life that helps her to identify what she wants. It's natural that she knows some of what she doesn't want so that she knows some of what she does want. It's natural that she has created her own vortex. It's natural that she's created her own vibrational reality. It's natural that her own inner being knows who she is. It's natural that her own inner being knows who she is and loves her. It's natural that her inner being is calling her toward what she is wanting. I want her to be called by her own inner being more than by me. I trust her inner being more than I trust me. Her inner being 100% of the time is in her vortex, calling her toward what she wants. Sometimes I'm not in my vortex. When I lay down the law, I'm often out of alignment. It's right for her to listen to something that's coming forth from within rather than something that is being demanded of her. Her instincts are on target.